There is a force that moves through everything in existence, through every atom, every wave of sound, every breath you take. It's the same energy that guides the stars across the sky and causes flowers to bloom in perfect timing. But most people never truly feel it because their minds are too busy. They live in constant noise thinking, planning, worrying, and replaying. Their minds are filled with the clutter of the past and the anxiety of the future. And so they miss the beauty of what's happening right now in this very moment. Stillness isn't the absence of thought, it's the mastery of it. It's not about forcing your mind to be empty, but about learning how to observe your thoughts without letting them control you. When you quiet the chatter, you begin to see clearly. You begin to understand that behind all those thoughts, there's a vast, calm awareness, your true self. That's the space where power lives. Most people think power comes from controlling situations, people, or outcomes. But the greatest power doesn't come from control, it comes from surrender. Inner stillness is surrender, not in weakness, but in strength. It's the conscious choice to stop fighting with what is and start flowing with what could be. It's choosing to trust life instead of forcing it. When your mind becomes still, it no longer reacts to the outer world. Instead, it starts to influence it. The energy of calmness has a frequency of its own. It's steady, coherent, and magnetic. It draws in experiences that match its vibration. Have you ever noticed how one peaceful person can change the entire atmosphere of a room? That's not coincidence, it's resonance. Their stillness creates alignment in the field around them. And you have that same ability when you learn to quiet the storm inside. Think of your mind like a lake. When the surface is disturbed, you can't see what lies beneath. But when the water is still, everything becomes visible: the reflection of the sky, the depth of the water, the life beneath the surface. The same happens within you. When your thoughts are turbulent, your perception is distorted. But when your mind is still, you see truth clearly. You see possibilities that were once hidden by noise. Inner stillness is also the doorway to intuition. When the mind quiets down, the heart begins to speak. You start receiving guidance from a deeper intelligence that doesn't come from logic, it comes from connection. You begin to sense what feels right, not just what looks right. Decisions become easier, life starts to flow with less resistance, and you begin to trust that flow because you can feel its wisdom. In stillness, you become aware of how powerful your thoughts truly are. You begin to witness the cause and effect of your inner world manifesting in the outer one. You start to notice how peace within you brings peace around you, how love within you attracts love, and how chaos within you draws more chaos. And in that realization, you stop blaming circumstances and start mastering your state of being. That's the real transformation. The moment you realize that your inner calm is not dependent on external calm. When you sit in stillness, you are not escaping life, you are aligning with it. You become an observer, not a reactor. You stop trying to change everything outside, and you begin to tune the energy within, because what you project from the inside is what shapes your reality. Stillness teaches you that your external world is just a mirror of your internal state. When you are calm, your reflection becomes clear. This practice of stillness doesn't happen overnight. The mind has been trained to run, to chase, to analyze. It resists quiet. It wants movement. But the more you practice sitting in stillness, the more natural it becomes. At first, it may feel uncomfortable, like silence pressing against your thoughts. But that silence is not empty. It's full of potential. It's the space where creation begins. Every great idea, every breakthrough, every inspired action first arises from that quiet space between thoughts. You'll notice that when your mind slows down, your breathing changes. It deepens, it softens. Your body begins to follow the rhythm of peace. Your heart rate steadies, your muscles release tension. And with every breath, your nervous system shifts from survival to creation. You move from reaction to response, from fear to awareness, from stress to strength. That's the biological power of inner stillness. It changes your chemistry, your frequency. your entire state of being. Stillness also reconnects you to the present moment, the only moment that truly exists. The past is a memory, and the future is imagination. The present is pure power, but it's only accessible through awareness. When your mind is calm, you can finally experience life as it is, not as your mind interprets it, but as it unfolds. You begin to see the beauty in simplicity, the sound of your breath, the feeling of your heartbeat, the quiet hum of existence. The truth is, peace isn't something you find, it's something you remember. It's been within you since the very beginning. The more you return to it, the stronger it becomes. And as peace expands, clarity follows, inspiration flows, you begin to think differently, feel differently, and live differently. You no longer look for strength outside of you. You realize it's been waiting inside you all along. Stillness is not passive. It's the foundation of creation. It's the moment before the note that gives music its depth. It's the pause between breaths that gives life its rhythm. When you learn to rest in stillness, you don't lose energy, you generate it. You align your thoughts with your spirit, your energy with your intention, and your entire being with the present moment. That alignment is power. When you understand this, you stop chasing peace and begin embodying it. You stop seeking answers and start becoming them. You realize that the most powerful mind is not the one that knows everything, but the one that can remain calm in everything. Because from that calmness, creation flows effortlessly, naturally, beautifully, just as it was always meant to. Everything in your life begins with attention. What you focus on, you feed with your energy. And what you feed grows. Your focus is not just a mental act, it's an energetic transmission, a signal you constantly send out into the universe. Every thought, every emotion, every mental picture is like a broadcast of your state of being. You are, at every moment, communicating through energy. The question is, what are you communicating? Most people don't realize that their energy is scattered because their focus is scattered. Their attention jumps from worry to desire, from fear to hope, from past to future, never resting long enough in one place to create anything coherent. Energy responds to coherence. When your focus is divided, your energy becomes diluted. But when you learn to concentrate your attention on one clear intention, one elevated emotion, you begin to align the power of your mind and the power of your heart. That alignment is creation. The universe doesn't respond to what you say you want. It responds to what you consistently focus on with feeling. Focus is not just mental clarity, it is emotional engagement. You must feel what you focus on because emotion is energy in motion. Most people live their lives focusing on what they don't want. They think constantly about their problems, their limitations, their mistakes. They replay painful memories, and by doing so, they keep feeding them energy. Wherever attention goes, energy flows. The more you think about what's wrong, the more of that energy you generate in your body, and the more you begin to experience situations that match that vibration. Your body doesn't know the difference between a memory and a real event. It simply responds to the emotional energy you produce through focus. That's how people unconsciously recreate the same experiences over and over again because their focus never changes. But the moment you decide to focus on peace, gratitude, and possibility, something extraordinary begins to happen. Your energy shifts, your body responds. Your cells start to align with a higher frequency. Your brain begins to form new connections. You start attracting situations that mirror your elevated state. It's not magic, it's alignment. You are constantly creating your life through the lens of your attention, and the quality of that attention defines the quality of your experience. Energy follows focus because focus is the language of the mind. Whatever your mind gives meaning to, your energy begins to support. Think of it like sunlight through a magnifying glass. When the light is diffused, it warms nothing. But when it's concentrated on one point, it can ignite fire. The same happens with your energy. A scattered focus produces weak results, while a directed focus creates transformation. When you focus with intention, you draw energy from potential into form. You pull what was once unseen into reality. Every great transformation begins with a shift in focus. The moment you stop giving attention to what drains you and begin giving attention to what elevates you, you reclaim your power. You begin to see that your energy is your most valuable resource, not your time, not your money, but your attention, because attention creates the field through which all things are experienced. What you attend to becomes your world. The external is only ever a mirror of the internal. If you wake up every morning and focus on gratitude, peace, and possibility, your energy will match those vibrations. You will begin to notice the good around you more easily. Opportunities will reveal themselves where before you saw obstacles, and people will respond differently to your presence. On the other hand, if you wake up and focus on stress, frustration, and fear, your energy will reflect that too. You will carry tension in your body, and your day will seem filled with resistance. That is how precise and powerful your focus truly is. Your focus shapes your emotions, and your emotions shape your energy field. When you think of something positive, your heart rhythm becomes more coherent. Your brain waves synchronize, and your body feels lighter. That coherence radiates outward, but when you think of something negative, your system becomes incoherent. Your heart and brain fall out of sync, your energy field weakens, and your perception narrows. This is why maintaining focus on higher emotions like love, gratitude, and joy is not just philosophy, it's physiology. It literally changes your electromagnetic field, which then influences the field of possibilities around you. Most people think they need to change their circumstances to feel better, but the truth is the opposite. You need to change your focus to change your circumstances. When you shift your energy through focus, the external begins to rearrange itself to match the new signal you're broadcasting. Life mirrors your dominant frequency. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are focusing your energy upon. Focus is also a form of discipline. It requires awareness to notice when your mind drifts into fear or doubt and gently guide it back toward peace and vision. It's not about forcing positivity. It's about training your awareness to stay aligned with what you want to experience. The more consistently you do this, the stronger your energetic field becomes. You start radiating coherence instead of confusion. You become intentional rather than reactive. You might not always be able to control your environment, but you can always control your focus. That's where your freedom lies. Focus gives you power in every moment, no matter what's happening around you. It allows you to step out of survival and into creation. It's the bridge between thought and manifestation. When you focus on abundance, you start to feel abundant. When you focus on healing, your body begins to follow. When you focus on peace, you start to emanate calmness that influences everyone around you. The truth is, energy is always listening. The field around you responds to the vibration you emit through your focus and feelings. Every thought sends a ripple. Every emotion adds a frequency. And together, they weave the fabric of your reality. To focus consciously is to create deliberately. The more aware you become of where your attention goes, the more control you gain over what unfolds in your life. A wandering mind is a weakened field. A focused mind is a powerful force. When your energy and focus move in the same direction, you become unstoppable. You no longer live by reaction, you live by intention. You no longer chase experiences, you attract them. You begin to understand that your life is not happening to you, it's responding to you. And that response is determined by one simple principle: where your focus goes, your energy flows. Deep within every human being lies a silent force, a sacred intelligence that cannot be seen or measured, but can always be felt. It is the quiet awareness that exists beneath your thoughts, the presence that has been with you through every experience, every joy, and every challenge. That is the power of the soul, the timeless essence of who you truly are. Most people move through life disconnected from this inner source, lost in the noise of the world and trapped in the identity of the mind. They identify with their roles, their stories, their fears, and their achievements, but rarely do they stop to listen to the whisper that comes from within. The soul is not loud. It doesn't demand attention. It waits patiently beneath the layers of distraction for you to become still enough to hear it. The soul communicates not through words, but through feelings, intuition, and resonance. When you sense peace without reason, when you feel guided toward a path that defies logic, when you experience a deep knowing that something is right or wrong, that is your soul speaking. It doesn't shout, it doesn't argue, it simply knows. The challenge is that the mind, which thrives on control and analysis, often drowns out that knowing. The mind wants proof, the soul lives in trust. The mind wants guarantees, the soul moves through faith. But once you begin to tune into that inner frequency, you start to realize that there is a deeper power guiding your life, one that is infinitely wiser than your thoughts. The hidden power of the soul reveals itself when you begin to live in alignment with truth rather than illusion. Truth feels light, it feels expansive, it feels free. Illusion feels heavy, constrictive, and restless. Every time you choose truth, when you listen to what feels right, instead of what seems easy, you strengthen your connection to the soul. And the stronger that connection becomes, the more magnetic you become. People who live from the soul carry an unexplainable presence. They don't have to speak loudly to be noticed because their energy speaks for them. Their calmness radiates. Their authenticity attracts. Their actions flow effortlessly because they are guided by something larger than thought. They are guided by essence. To connect with the soul's power, you must first step beyond the identity you've built from the outside world. You are not your job, your possessions, your reputation, or even your body. These are expressions of who you are, not the source of it. The soul existed long before you took this form, and it will continue long after. When you remember that, fear begins to lose its hold. The opinions of others stop controlling you. You begin to live from purpose rather than performance. The more you live from this awareness, the more you realize that life is not happening against you, it's happening through you. Every challenge becomes a lesson, every delay a redirection, and every pain a portal to deeper strength. The soul operates from expansion, not limitation. It seeks growth, evolution, and experience. It doesn't see failure as defeat, it sees it as feedback. When you live through the lens of the soul, you start to notice that everything is guiding you back to yourself. Every closed door, every broken plan, every moment of loss becomes a reminder to turn inward. The hidden power of the soul emerges when you stop resisting what is and begin trusting that there is purpose in every experience. That trust changes your energy. It softens your need for control and opens you to miracles that the logical mind could never imagine. When the soul is awakened, it shifts how you perceive time, relationships, and success. You stop rushing because you realize that everything unfolds in divine rhythm. You stop clinging because you understand that what belongs to your soul will always find its way to you. You stop seeking external validation because you feel complete within yourself. That is freedom, the freedom that comes not from having everything, but from needing nothing. And in that freedom, the soul's power expands beyond measure. You begin to sense a quiet strength rising within you, the kind that doesn't depend on circumstances. It's not the power of dominance or control, but the power of alignment. When your mind, heart, and actions are aligned with your soul, you move through life with grace and confidence. Challenges still come, but they no longer shake you at your core because you know who you are beyond them. You start responding to life instead of reacting to it. Your energy becomes steady, and you radiate peace even in chaos. That peace is power. It influences the environment around you without words or force. The hidden power of the soul also awakens creativity. When you connect with that deeper essence, you tap into the infinite intelligence of the universe. Inspiration begins to flow effortlessly. Ideas seem to appear from nowhere. You find solutions without struggle. This is because the soul doesn't create through effort, it creates through alignment. When you are in tune with that energy, life starts to feel like a dance. You don't push against it, you move with it. The soul knows no limitation. It is connected to everything that exists. When you tune into it, you begin to feel that connection to people, to nature, to the universe itself. Separation dissolves and compassion grows. You begin to see others not as competition, but as reflections of yourself. You start acting not from fear, but from love. And that love becomes a frequency that heals not only yourself, but everyone who crosses your path. The more you live from the soul, the more life begins to support you. Synchronicities appear, the right people show up at the right time, the right opportunities unfold effortlessly. It's as if the universe starts conspiring on your behalf. But in truth, it's not the universe changing, it's you. You've shifted from resistance to receptivity, from ego to essence, from control to flow. The hidden power of the soul reveals itself fully only when you stop trying to force life and start allowing it to unfold through you. In that state, you no longer chase your purpose, you embody it. You no longer look for signs, you become one. You no longer seek direction outside you, listen within. The soul's guidance becomes clearer with each act of trust, with each surrender, with each moment you choose peace over fear. And as that connection deepens, you realize that everything you've been searching for has always been within you, waiting for you to remember your own light. The human mind is a masterpiece of creation, complex, powerful, and deeply conditioned. From the moment you were born, your mind has been recording, learning, adapting, and forming beliefs based on your experiences. Every sound, every emotion, every word spoken to you has shaped the way you think, feel, and perceive reality. Most of these patterns were formed unconsciously long before you had the awareness to question them. Over time, these mental programs became the foundation of your identity. They dictate how you react to stress, how you interpret situations, and even how you define peace and happiness. But the truth is, the mind can be reprogrammed. It is not fixed. It is plastic, adaptable, and always capable of renewal. Reprogramming the mind for peace begins with awareness. You cannot change what you do not observe. The first step is to become the witness, to step back from your thoughts and simply notice them without judgment. Most people are not aware that they are thinking, they are lost in thought. They believe every story the mind tells them. They identify so strongly with their inner dialogue that they never realize it can be changed. Awareness breaks that pattern. When you start observing your thoughts, you create space between who you are and what you think. That space is where transformation begins. The mind thrives on repetition. Whatever it hears often, it believes. This is why old habits and negative patterns feel so strong they've been rehearsed for years. You may not even realize how many of your daily thoughts are recycled from yesterday. Scientists estimate that around 90% of our thoughts are repetitive, and most of those are rooted in fear, worry, or limitation. Reprogramming requires interrupting that cycle and consciously choosing new thoughts that align with peace. It's about planting new seeds in the soil of your subconscious. At first, the old weeds will still appear. They're familiar, they're comfortable, but if you continue to nurture the new thoughts with consistency, the old patterns will eventually fade. Every thought creates a chemical reaction in your body. When you think stressful thoughts, your body produces stress hormones. When you think peaceful thoughts, it releases calming chemicals that restore balance. Over time, your body becomes addicted to whatever state you most frequently experience. This is why some people find it hard to relax, even in peaceful environments. They have conditioned their bodies to live in stress. To reprogram the mind, you must also retrain the body. You must teach it what peace feels like again. Breathing deeply, meditating, and practicing mindfulness are not just spiritual exercises, they are biological retraining. They teach your nervous system that safety exists in stillness, that peace can be your default state. Visualization is one of the most powerful tools for mental reprogramming. When you close your eyes and vividly imagine yourself in a state of peace, your brain cannot distinguish that mental image from reality. It begins to fire new neural pathways that correspond to the emotion you are feeling. The more you repeat that practice, the stronger those pathways become. Soon, peace is no longer just a fleeting moment. It becomes a familiar state that your mind and body naturally return to. You start to notice that the situations that once triggered anxiety now meet a calmer response. Your energy changes because your programming has changed. Another crucial aspect of reprogramming the mind for peace is language. The words you speak and the words you think carry frequency. When you constantly say, I'm tired, I'm stressed, or I can't handle this, your subconscious takes it as instruction. It doesn't analyze whether it's true or false, it simply accepts it and adjusts your energy to match. But when you begin speaking peace into your life, saying things like, I am calm, I am centered, I am in control of my energy, your mind begins to reorganize itself around those affirmations. The key is repetition and belief. You must speak peace until it becomes your truth. Reprogramming also requires compassion for yourself. The mind you have today was built to protect you. It develops certain reactions, fears, and defense mechanisms based on what it believed was necessary for survival. Judging yourself for your patterns only strengthens them. Compassion disarms resistance. When you observe your negative thoughts with kindness instead of frustration, they begin to lose their power. Peace doesn't come through force, it comes through acceptance. The more gentle you are with your mind, the easier it becomes to guide it toward new ways of thinking. Meditation is one of the most effective practices for reprogramming the mind because it slows the brain's frequency. In stillness, the subconscious becomes more receptive. When your brain moves from the busy beta state into alpha or theta states, it opens the doorway to transformation. In these states, you can plant new intentions, reimagine your identity, and dissolve the emotional charge of old memories. Over time, this practice reshapes your perception of reality. You begin to feel that peace is not something you have to create, it's something you return to, something that was always within you beneath the layers of conditioning. Forgiveness also plays a vital role in this process. Many of the mind's patterns are built around unresolved pain. Holding on to resentment or guilt keeps your mind trapped in cycles of conflict. Forgiveness is not about excusing the past, it's about freeing yourself from it. When you forgive, you release emotional energy that the mind has been using to maintain its old identity. That release creates space for peace to enter. Gratitude is another frequency that rewires the brain. When you consistently focus on what's good in your life, your brain starts scanning the world for more of it. This shifts your perception from lack to abundance, from worry to appreciation. Each moment of gratitude strengthens new neural circuits that support calmness and joy. Over time, gratitude becomes a lens through which you see the world. Even simple things, the sunlight, a deep breath, the sound of laughter begin to bring you peace because your mind has learned to focus on harmony instead of chaos. Reprogramming the mind for peace is a daily practice. It's the choice to wake up each morning and direct your focus intentionally. It's choosing to breathe deeply when stress arises, to pause before reacting, to think differently even when the old thoughts try to return. Each small act of awareness weakens the old wiring and strengthens the new. Slowly, the internal dialogue changes. The noise quiets. You begin to experience stillness, not as an effort, but as a natural state. The more consistently you practice, the more automatic peace becomes. The mind learns to relax into presence. And in that presence, peace begins to rewrite your reality from the inside out. When peace becomes the foundation of your life, everything begins to shift. You stop reacting to the chaos around you and start responding from a deeper intelligence within. The energy of peace is not passive, it is profoundly powerful. It anchors you in clarity when others lose direction. It gives you strength without aggression, confidence without arrogance, and wisdom without judgment. Living from peace means living from alignment. It means allowing your inner calm to guide your choices instead of fear or pressure, and from that inner balance, you begin to influence the world around you in ways you may never have imagined. Peace is not an escape from life. It is a higher participation in it. When your inner state is steady, you no longer waste energy on resistance. You stop fighting circumstances, people, and emotions, and begin to work with them. You start seeing challenges not as threats, but as opportunities to remain grounded in your truth. The mind that has learned peace no longer crumbles under uncertainty. It adapts, it observes, it chooses. That quiet strength is what true power looks like. It's not loud or forceful, it's unshakable. To live from peace is to master your energy. Every situation you encounter carries a vibration, and when you're calm, you can feel it clearly. You sense what's real and what's reaction, what deserves your attention and what doesn't. People often confuse busyness with productivity and noise with influence. But peace operates differently. It listens before acting. It breathes before speaking. It chooses response over reaction. This conscious composure creates a field of coherence around you, a field that others can feel even if they don't understand it. When you embody peace, you naturally become a leader, not by title, but by presence. Leading with power doesn't mean dominating others, it means guiding through alignment. It means being so rooted in your own calm that others begin to feel safe in your presence. They sense your clarity, your confidence, and your authenticity, and they respond with trust. Leadership that comes from peace doesn't demand respect, it inspires it. It's the kind of power that uplifts rather than controls, that listens more than it speaks, and that influences not through fear, but through example. When you live from peace, your energy becomes your message. Every interaction becomes a reflection of your inner state. If you are restless, you spread restlessness. If you are calm, you spread calm. The most powerful leaders, creators, and healers understand this. They cultivate inner peace, not for themselves alone, but as an act of service. Their stillness becomes a source of stability for others. When you walk into a room with peace in your heart, you shift the vibration of that space. People may not know why, but they feel lighter, safer, more open. That is energetic leadership, the silent influence that flows from coherence. Living from peace also changes how you make decisions. Instead of rushing or reacting, you move with intention. You begin to trust timing instead of forcing outcomes. You understand that clarity cannot exist in confusion, so you give yourself permission to pause. In that pause, you reconnect with your inner compass, the quiet knowing that always guides you when you take time to listen. Decisions made from peace have a different energy, they carry balance. They unfold with grace because they come from alignment, not fear. When peace governs your mind, power begins to flow naturally. You no longer chase control because you realize that real power doesn't come from control, it comes from coherence. Control is born of fear, coherence is born of trust. When you trust life, you no longer need to force it. You begin to move with the rhythm of the universe instead of against it. That rhythm supports you, directs you, and opens paths you couldn't have found through effort alone. The calm mind connects you to that universal intelligence, and through it, you begin to manifest from ease rather than struggle. Living from peace also transforms how you relate to others. You stop seeing people as obstacles or opponents and start recognizing them as mirrors, each one reflecting something within you. Peaceful living invites compassion because you begin to see the pain behind anger, the fear behind aggression, the confusion behind judgment. You start responding to others not from your wounds, but from your wholeness. That shift turns conflict into connection and resistance into understanding. You become a source of healing energy in a world that often forgets how to slow down and breathe. Peaceful power is magnetic because it's rooted in authenticity. When you're no longer pretending, performing, or proving, your energy becomes pure. That purity draws people, opportunities, and synchronicities into your life effortlessly. You attract not because you chase, but because you align. Your frequency becomes a signal of harmony, and the universe responds to it by matching your vibration. Peaceful people often experience flow moments where life feels guided, where the right things appear at the right time, where everything seems to move in perfect order. That flow is not coincidence, it is resonance. Leading with peace also requires courage. The courage to remain centered when the world around you is loud. The courage to choose patience when others demand reaction. And the courage to stay grounded in your truth even when fear tries to pull you away. This kind of courage doesn't roar, it stands firm in silence. It trusts the unseen, believes in timing, and moves with purpose. The greatest strength you can ever develop is the ability to remain peaceful in the midst of turbulence, because that's when peace becomes power in motion. When you live from peace, your definition of success evolves. It's no longer about winning every battle or collecting achievements. It's about harmony, balance, and alignment. Success becomes a state of being rather than an external accomplishment. You realize that how you feel while living is far more important than what you gain by striving. From that realization, your energy becomes lighter. You start creating not from fear of lack, but from joy of expression. Peace gives you the space to enjoy your journey rather than constantly rushing toward the destination. The power that flows from peace is the kind that transforms silently. It influences by example, heals by presence, and uplifts by vibration. Living from peace means walking through the world with open eyes and an open heart, guided not by reaction, but by awareness. It means leading with compassion rather than control, strength rather than struggle, and alignment rather than anxiety. It is the realization that peace was never meant to be the goal of life. It was meant to be the foundation from which true power emerges. When you bring peace to your mind and awaken power in your soul, you are no longer the same person who began this journey. You start to see that transformation was never about becoming someone new. It was about remembering who you truly are beneath all the noise, fear, and conditioning. The calm you cultivate within becomes the lens through which you experience the world, and that inner clarity reshapes everything you touch. Peace is the silent language of creation. When your mind is calm, you connect with a deeper intelligence that has always been guiding you. You begin to understand that life responds not to your effort alone, but to your energy. Every thought, every emotion, every intention sends a signal into the field of possibility, and that field mirrors it back to you. When your signal is coherent, when peace and power coexist within you, start to attract harmony, abundance, and purpose effortlessly. The secret to true transformation lies not in doing more, but in being more. It's the shift from surviving to creating, from controlling to trusting, from reacting to responding. The peace you feel in your heart becomes the foundation for every powerful decision, every inspired action, and every meaningful connection. You stop chasing happiness and begin radiating it. You stop fighting life and start flowing with it. Every time you return to the present moment, fully aware, fully still, you are rewriting your reality. You are signaling to life that you are ready to create from love rather than fear, from trust rather than tension. And that simple shift changes everything. Because peace in the mind is not just the beginning of power, it is the essence of it. It is the doorway to transformation, the source of clarity, and the home of your true self. When you live from that place of peace, your soul shines. You no longer seek light, you become it.